I saw
Jeff
it,
Hardy.
bro. I saw it, and
Man.
I know, bro. I said the same, bro. I don't watch wrestling to see people get hurt.
Yeah, almost
That's
killed
not a
themselves.
turn on to me, bro. It's cringe to me.
I don't know, Vince. I mean, what do you think? How much shelf life do you think their plowing through enhancement talent has?
I don't think it has any, bro. I don't think anybody is interested. I don't know where they go with it. Like I said, unless it's something that's really personal. And you know, bro, every feud in wrestling is I want to wrestle you, and it's they all want to fight. If you made this really personal and got back into the history, I think it could be something very interesting. If they're just going to handpick a babyface, Finn Balor,
Yeah,
and they just want to fight.
right.
Come on, man. Who cares, man?
Yeah, to your point, it just seems like everything's based off a random announcement or a backstage segment nowadays. It's
Yep.
just like
Yep.
all of a sudden, two people just so happen at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to be in the same vicinity of a huge backstage of an arena, and they're like, "Oh man, why'd you bump me?" Okay, well, we're going to settle this tonight. What I mean? It's just like, the buy-in is so weak, man.
That's
I
what
don't
it
like
is, bro. I always say it's this, 6 days a week, or 6 days a week. These guys and gals are living their own lives. On this one day, we all show up at this building. We all fight each other. Then we go off to our lives. No, bro, their characters need to carry on 7 days a week. These stories need to happen 7 days a week. Not, okay, bro, we all show up at the building on Monday night or Friday night, and we're all going to fight. And as soon as the show is over, we're going to go back home to our families and do our thing. Next Monday, we're going to show up here and fight again. No, bro, it needs to be more than that.
So, speaking of that, did you hear about the? We can make a sharp pivot. The transitions pretty well. Did you see or hear about the spot that Darby Allin did?
I saw it, bro. I saw it, and
Man.
I know, bro. I said the same, bro. I don't watch wrestling to see people get hurt.
Yeah,
That's
killed
not a
themselves.
turn on to me, bro. It's cringe to me. I don't want to see people get hurt. And I'm looking at that spot yesterday, and I'm just like, for what, bro? For what?
He ended up losing the match, by the way, so it really didn't mean anything either. So he lost the match on a crucifix pin. I mean, like, after all that, he loses the match on a crucifix pin. So it's like it really didn't balance out at all. It's just, and it goes back to I know you and Cornette are not at odds, but I got to put him over for saying something interesting years ago. I forgot how. I think I was probably writing an article about it when I was writing for a site, and it was an interview I was listening to. I don't know. This has had to be 5, 6, 7 years ago. And he said something really interesting. I was like, man, I agree 100% with that. He was talking about how it's always something more. Like, less is more a lot of times when it comes to wrestling. And it's so true, because you got to build stories. You got to give the fans buy-in and the ability to capture and progress with the storyline. You're leading the fan on to see what's next. That's episodic television 101. But nowadays, it's always the big spot, and then the big spot fades, and then you got to do a bigger spot. Yeah. So you do the swanton from the canvas, and then you do the swanton from the second rope and get some holy crap moments. And then that plateaus. And then you do the swanton from the top ropes, and that gets holy crap moments. And then that plateaus. And then you do it on the top of a ladder. That plateaus. Then you got to go to the top of the cage. That plateaus. And then you got to go to the top of a triple cage. That plateaus. and then you got to go to the top of the rafters. You know what I mean? It's just always something more that you got to do.
Chris, that's what I've always said. Within the boundaries of those ropes, bro, there's only so much you could do.
Yeah.
That's why storylines and characters are endless. They're endless, bro.
Yes.
Bro, they've been making movies since the silent era, in 1920.
Charlie Chaplin.
Bro, I just watched my 150th episode of Blacklist. Bro, that's 3 years of wrestling. That's 150 episodes. That's why storylines and characters are important. There's no end. You can write stories and come up with characters forever. But bro, like you said, and like Cornette says, you keep upping the bar. All that means, bro, is more and more and more injuries. That's right. All it means. And bro, what are you gonna do once they've seen everything? Then what are you gonna do?
And then they're gonna start booing you because you're boring. Because
exactly, right. Exactly. Wait a minute, bro. Last time you used a 20-foot ladder. Where's it? Bring out the 30-footer.
Yeah. And then you bring out a 10-footer, like boo.
Yeah, seriously, bro. I mean, but that's what's happening, bro. When the tail is wagging the dog, that's what you're gonna get, bro.
So many wrestlers have let the animals out the cage. And now they're trying to push him back in the cage. Like, no, let's
too late now, bro.
Too late now.
Too late now, man. Too late, bro.
The animals are out the cage, man. They're like rabid dogs. They want the most goriest, biggest, death-defying, near paralyzing spot. And if it was just a regular swanton, it'd be like, oh, okay. It broke the table. But you had to get a 50-foot ladder and jump into a bed of chairs. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
and guess what, bro? You crack your skull open. Okay, next. Bring the next guy in. Go ahead. Exactly. Who's next? Seriously, it's ridiculous, bro. It's a joke.
Yeah, I agree. And why would I know that Jeff? I know that Jeff Hardy's death-defying like that, but and Jeff Hardy and Darby Allin would be two people who would do that. But what are your, like, for instance, like Sting? Sting's old school. I know that he does the dives and things like that. He's 63 years old and he's doing things to, get chance and showing that he still can go. But for Sting to be a mentor of Darby Allin, do you think that Darby ever runs anything past Sting, to kind of get, his thoughts on? And what do you think Sting would say? You've worked with Sting for many years.
I hope so, bro. I hope so, because I think Sting would be honest. But, from everything I hear, bro, this younger generation just does not want to listen.
I've heard that too.
They just want to do what they want to do. And like I said, bro, you've got to ask yourself the question, like, bro, where does it end? You keep raising the bar. Where do you go, man?
Yeah, I agree, man. It's an endless trying to one up yourself. And that's just it's like you said, it's the tail wagging the dog. You're chasing yourself. I mean, you're continuing to one up yourself and do a bunch of spots and the new spot and the next big spot, the next big spot. It's only yourself that you're competing against, because now you're trying to get the loudest cheer of the night by doing the most dangerous spot. When did wrestling become, let's do the most dangerous spot to get the loudest pop?
It's a work, bro. It's a work. This is supposed to be a work. A work means we are working together and we are going to protect each other and make sure we're both safe. We're working together. It's a work. That word's gone out the window, bro. It has literally gone out the window.
Yeah, man. What is it going to take for Tony Khan to cool down on approving those kind of spots? Is it going to take someone cracking the skull?
Bro, it's funny because I've always said, bro, it's gonna either be a death or somebody's gonna get paralyzed. But then, bro, I saw a guy in Japan get paralyzed on a Sunday, and the next day on the WWE, they were doing all that stuff. So I'm like, well, that's not going to change. A guy getting paralyzed is not going to change the way they work. So I don't know. Is it death? Somebody coming down, crashing on their... I don't know, bro, but people getting paralyzed have not stopped them.
Yikes. Yeah.
It's a work, bro. It's a work.
I just miss the old school feel of just storylines and headlocks, man. It's just it doesn't take all that to really buy in. I know people are saying it's a new day, but here's the thing: screw that, man. I mean, if the injury is greater, if there's a greater risk of someone paralyzing himself by jumping off a 30-40 foot ladder onto a bed full of chairs, a bed of chairs. I mean, is this safer? You know, we've talked about this before. Yeah, there was a less safety outside the ring, which was terrible. But now that's just transitioned into video games, which is safer or better. But it just seems like it's transitioned into the ring now from outside the ring. So it's less safe nowadays than it was, you know, back in the 80s. So I just don't understand why this generation of pro wrestling is so embraced. I mean, like I said, man, I think it's just rabid dogs, man.
There's no logic anymore, bro. Like, bro, yeah. when you really get down to logic in a lot of things, everything makes sense when you get down to logic. Yeah. Bro, it's all illogical. All you have to look at is, okay, bro, when you think of off the top of your head, okay, who made the most money in the history of this business? With Rock and Austin and all those guys, 99% of people, you're still going to think Hogan. You still think about what Hogan did in his matches, bro. Like, seriously, think of the money. Think about the money this guy made. Think about, to this day, everybody knows who he is. Think about the commercials, the endorsements, the movies, everything he's had, and think of his match.
Yeah.
Like I said, Chris, all you got to do is always go back to logic, and it just kills every argument that there is.
Yeah. The highest gross wrestlers of all time, and if you had a Mount Rushmore, if you throw Hogan in there, people say Rock, people say Austin, you know, people say Flair. Flair was the most spot fested, but he didn't do any crazy, you know, Canadian destroyers and moonsaults. He did a old man flop, and he flipped over the ring, and he got clotheslined. You know what I mean? So he made it worth something. He made it over. He made the person look better when he flopped and flipped over the ring. Those were very purposeful spots to make the babyface look better.
Right.
But now it's just, you do a super kick here and then no sell. Super kick there, no sell.
What you're talking about, Chris, with Flair, and we're talking about Hogan is, bro, 100% of the time they were in control of their bodies.
Correct.
When you look at that Darby Allin thing, bro, nobody's in control of anybody's body. When you're looking at that spot, anything can happen. Anything. When Flair's doing all that stuff and Hogan's doing, bro, the percentage of them getting injured is literally 1%. Because they're in complete control of their bodies. Yeah. That last night, I mean, bro, that was like a stunt on a movie set where 100 things could have went horribly wrong.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's really not worth it, man. I mean, that was, and like I said, the bad part of that wasn't even the spot that ended the match.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he ended up losing the match to one of the most basic moves on the list of moves, which was a crucifix pin. All of that big spot, all of that potential paralyzing for a very basic finish.
And so not only, and Chris, not only that, if you back up even further, bro, should they have ever gotten up from that spot? Like seriously,
exactly.
you're gonna get up from that spot and continue to wrestle? Like what are you, out of your bird, bro?
And then
like,
win the match, by the way.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you're gonna get up from that and go wrestle some more, bro. Come on, man.
Makes no sense, Vince. Well, hopefully, you know, there's a lesson learned with things like that, and you know, jumping off of ladders into the bed of chairs. But until then, let's hope for safety when it comes to
let's hope for. Like I said, bro, my biggest beef is I don't want anybody to get hurt. I hate that. I hate seeing people get hurt, bro. I hate it.
Agreed. This guy right here, Vince Russo. This guy right here, Dr. Chris. This, ladies and gentlemen, is another episode of Writing with Russo. Have a good night, everybody. You know what? Matter of fact, we haven't done the bouncies in a while.
The bouncy. We haven't done a Joey in a couple of weeks, bro.
We haven't done, let's do a bouncy for the good guys. Let's start with the right arm first, right? The right side first. Ready?
Bouncy. Go ahead.
Ready?
No.